Hey everyone, this is Mike, and today we're going to be talking about housing in Final Fantasy XIV, because in a little under 2 weeks, patch 5.35 is going live, and during that patch we are also going to be getting a few new housing wards, meaning that a lot of new houses will become available to players that will be interested in buying one. So basically I wanted to give you all the information that you need to know if you want to go buy a house when the next patch hits. Of course, if you do want to get a house, I would advise you to start pretty much immediately when the servers go live, because otherwise it's going to be quite difficult for you to be able to get a house. Now there are a few reasons why you might want to get a house. Maybe you just want something to call home in the game, like for example what I have right here. Maybe you just really like decorating stuff and you want to get a house for that. I, for example, mainly use it to have a striking dummy that I can practice on, and then there's also a market board and a retainer bell quite close to me, so it's just very convenient to have a house. But if you're, for example, a free company member, or you're somebody that owns a free company, then you can also buy a house for said free company, and then you get access to a workshop where you can then use to craft a bunch of different stuff, or to, for example, do airships and submarines, that kind of stuff. So there's basically a lot of reasons why you might want to get a house. Now, when it comes down to getting a house, it is fairly simple. You just walk up to a plot of land, you go to this little thingy right here, as you can see, this is like a plaque, I guess you could call it. You click on it and you get some options. You want to buy it for yourself, you want to buy it for your free company, if of course you have the rights to buy a house for your free company, and then you basically bought the plot of land. Now, after you've bought the plot of land, you will of course still need to buy the house itself, like this thing right here will cost you extra money, and then of course you still need to decorate it if you want to do so, which you then either have to craft, get from, like for example, extreme primals or other things, like for example this tree came from, I believe, Eureka, I'm not entirely sure. There's basically a lot of different things that you will still need to get, either buying from the market board, NPCs, or through other means to decorate your house, which might cost some extra money as well. Now, buying a house itself is not cheap. There are different prices depending on the class of your house as well. I believe it has to do with where your house is located. For example, my house is located on the beach of Kugane, or Shirogane, I guess. So this one costs a little bit more than a house that's, say, for example, a little bit further in the back. Or for example, a house that is closer to a market board might have a higher price as well. So if you're looking to buy a house, if you're going for a small plot, which is what you're seeing right here in the background, then you have to count for about 4 million gil. It's a little bit less than that, but if you have 4 million gil, you'll be able to buy yourself a small plot of land. Of course, not including the house that you're gonna have to place on there, because that's going to cost you a little bit more. Then if I relocate myself, this is what a medium house looks like. It's basically a little bit bigger. Of course, the interior of the house is going to be bigger as well. And then you have a little bit of a bigger garden in the front. And then last but not least, this is what a large house looks like. Again, way bigger garden, and then of course the interior is going to be pretty big as well. Now when it comes down to pricing, as I mentioned before, 4 million gil is what you would like to count for a small plot. Of course, depending on the class, it is going to be cheaper or a little bit more expensive, so that's why I'm saying 4 million gil will do you just fine. When it comes down to a medium plot, you want to count for 20 million gil, and when it comes down to a large plot, you will want to count 50 million gil. Of course, you will still need to buy the house itself. This is only for the plot of land, so having a little bit of excess gil will definitely do you plenty. Now, when it comes down to the different housing wards, we of course have a couple of different ones available to us. Right now there are 4 different areas that you can buy houses, which this one is Kugane, where I'm running around in right now, or technically this one is called Shirogane. Then moving over to La Nocia, we have our mists. This is the one from Lim Salominsa, basically. Also has a beach. Then we have the lavender beds for Gridania. Also, every housing ward now has a little swimming area that you have access to as well. So it doesn't matter which housing area you choose, there will always be a place where you can like go splash your feet, I guess you could say. And then last but not least, we have the Goblet. This is definitely one of my favorite ones. Also has a very unique aesthetic, has a really nice swimming pool over there as well. And then down here, you basically have like a cliffside, which I think is really cool looking. And then as a little sneak peek, I am quite sure that coming next expansion, we're also going to get some housing here in Ishgar. This is currently the Firmament. You might be familiar with this from the Ishgardian restoration, but I'm pretty certain that this is going to be a housing ward into the next expansion as well. Also a very cool looking place. So those are pretty much the 4 different areas that are currently available if you want to buy a house. Now, if you do decide to buy one, there is one very important thing that you need to know, and that is that there is an auto demolition feature. So if you decide to unsub from the game or just be inactive and don't really play much or don't enter your house for a while, then the auto demolition feature will turn on. I believe it is 30 days, and then you basically have another 30 days, or maybe it's 15 days, to enter your house to cancel the auto demolition. So if you're somebody that's not an active player, that doesn't log in every week, so to speak, to go inside of your house or to like interact with it, then basically your house will be demolished after a few weeks of inactivity. So if you're somebody that wants to get a house, you also need to make sure that you pretty much stay sub to the game for a very long time, because otherwise there is a chance that you might lose your house because of inactivity. It is to basically keep it fair for other people, so that if people are basically quitting the game, that their house eventually goes away and that other players that are active players have access to your plot instead. So that's definitely something very important that you need to know. But that's pretty much all you need to know about housing. It's pretty expensive if you want to buy a bigger house. A small plot like I have here behind me is definitely not all that expensive. As I mentioned, the most expensive one goes for a little bit under 4 million gil, which is definitely not a crazy amount of money. Of course, if you're a new player, 4 million gil might look like a lot, but if you're somebody that decides to spend some time to actually gain gil in the game, it's definitely not that bad to come around with. But that's pretty much that. If you have any more questions about housing, feel free to leave them in the comments down below and I'll get back to you as soon as possible. But that's gonna be it for me. I want to thank you for watching. I want to thank my Patreons for supporting me, and I'll see you in the next one.